trained doctors are available in Punjab. We can handle it, if there is any epidemic, we can handle it better. And this was just one aspect of training. We have been doing certain research work, which has been published. Some is under publication. We have made one book that will be available to you in hopefully in 1 month's time. And one algorithm we have prepared, and that algorithm you can use at your clinics. We have tried to make it simple, and we will just distribute with Adil. Sir, okay. Sir, this algorithm is in front of you, and you can go through these algorithms. If you have any questions, any comments on these algorithms, and because this is only for this is just the beginning, not this is the final word, but we can try to make it a bit simple for you. You can put it in clinic, but we have made it for people, not only doctors, but I believe that if there is a non-doctor who wants to manage the patient of dengue, I hope he can do it with the help of these algorithms. So these are not very high-fi sort of algorithms, they are very simplified. But still, if you have any question, any comments on this, you are more anytime. So our next presentation for this evening is by Dr. Somia. Somia was our colleague, please welcome Dr. Somia. And she was our colleague in her training by Dr. I'm sorry. Dr. Sita will start a short presentation by Dr. Sita and Dr. Somia. And Dr. Veena. This is a joint presentation. So please welcome Dr. Sita.
Thank you very much. And really apology towards the late appearance. I'm sorry that you all had to skip your lunch for more than 2.5 to 3 hours. Had we known that you all were waiting without lunch, we would really appreciated that you had your lunch till we got here. Unfortunately, we were getting busy with other hospitals that we visited. So I'm really, I really break your pardon on that. Nevertheless, we are very happy that we are getting a chance to speak to the general practitioners. We met the Pakistani Academy of General Practitioners in February this year, when you had your annual sessions, and this is the second time we are meeting at least some of the colleagues. And then, of course, we have also met some of your colleagues back in Sri Lanka and in Thailand. So we have this constant, regular meetings of us, in various parts of the world. So this is a good thing. It's good for dengue, actually. More than for ourselves, it's good for dengue. So having said that, I'll just quickly go on to the very, very brief 5-minute presentation that I have, for which I don't have slides. We have divided, as Professor Ali said, we have divided this into 3 segments. I'll just very briefly tell you a little bit about the introduction, followed by Dr. Somia from Neo Hospital, who will be talking about the overview of dengue, as you know, just a refresher, just to refresh your minds, followed by Dr. Veeraman, who will be talking a little more about the management, the primary care, first contact management for dengue patients when you have patients. And I'm very happy that the general practitioners are working with the national body or the provincial body that has been set up at Services Hospital with the blessings of the government of Punjab. This is a very good positive thing, and we have spent about 24 hours here during our present visit, and we have visited several places, and we see a lot of activity being done with regard to dengue despite not having many cases. So it's a good thing. And when Dr. Taiva said that we might not get an outbreak in Lahore, I was thinking to myself, the only thing that you can predict about dengue is the unpredictability. That's the only thing that you can say about dengue. It's such an unpredictable disease. So you never know whether it's going to be Multan, Rawalpindi or Faisal or Lahore that's going to have the next epidemic, and we really don't know when the next epidemic is going to come. So we should not let our guard down. We should look out for patients, cases. This is what is known as surveillance. So we have to keep the surveillance activities continuing. And being a complex disease, dengue is such a complex disease. It's it's evolving, and we are learning every day about dengue. It's a learning process to everyone, all of us. In fact, we were discussing this morning. We came to Pakistan in September 2011 when we had the worst epidemic, and we were considered as experts when we came to Pakistan. For some reason, when we went back to Sri Lanka after our tenure in Pakistan for about 10 days, we were better experts. So this is how it is, you learn every day. And Pakistan made us better experts because we had the opportunity to see many patients, and you were so open about it, and then we really got into managing patients, seeing patients with you. So this is what we need. You need to look at it as a group. You can't treat this, tackle this problem as individuals. We have to look at it as a group. So that's the first message I want to tell you, because it's such a complex problem. It's evolved in Sri Lanka from being a mere infectious disease to a major public health problem to a social problem. Now it's a social problem. When we have a febrile patient, may be a child, may be a young adult or an elderly person, the first thing that comes to their mind is whether this person is having dengue. And the second thing that comes to their mind is whether they are going to die of dengue. So this is the level of the impetus that it has on the community. So it's a major problem. It has huge social implications. It has a huge financial implication, and it has a huge global implication as well. It has become a global problem. So Pakistan is in transition. You will see this evolving, and it's a good thing that you have started looking at it in a very positive way, and you will continue to appreciate what you are doing in a very positive manner, and you will be able to tackle this better when you have the next epidemic, which is unpredictable, as I said. And there are a few points that I want to raise for the general practitioners. Firstly, early diagnosis of dengue helps in preventing complications and mortality. That's the first message I want to tell you. You must try and suspect dengue in your patients and try to diagnose dengue early. That's very important. For febrile illness, for any age, try not to use anything other than paracetamol. Do not use pain relieving drugs for fever. There is no quick fix for fever, and that's going to make matters worse if it is dengue. So do not advocate use of NSAIDs, use of aspirin, use of mefenamic acid, use of steroids, or for that matter diclofenac sodium or anything like that to relieve fever. That's the message that you should advocate. You should not promote that as medical professionals. Second thing, the third thing, educate your people, your community, your patient. Dengue becomes a problem during diffuse service. As fever comes down, this is the only illness where you get complications when fever comes down. Generally, the community will feel better, the patients will feel better as fever comes down. And this is the time that you need to look for complications, look to prevent complications. So you must tell the people, the community, that during the fever service, you have to watch out for more severe signs of complications. This is the only disease where you have that kind of problem. So if the patient is not improving clinically, we will talk a little more about that later on in the discussion. Always tell the patient, if you are not improving, come back to us and seek medical attention, seek our attention. So this is the only illness where you have problems when fever comes down. You must always advocate that to the patient. Fourthly and lastly, the most important thing is, if you have shock, if the patient has any sign of shock, do not try to treat the patient continuously. Resuscitate the patient and forward the patient to a big center like either services hospital or a secondary care institution. Do not try to sort of keep treating the patient, because the mortality is so high in patients who are in shock. So you must always forward that patient, refer that patient to a higher center if you detect patients with shock. So these are the 4 messages that we advocate in Sri Lanka, and I would like you to take due consideration for these factors. So in this discussion, we will try to achieve 3 objectives within the next 45 minutes. Hopefully, if you can, hold yourselves for another 45 minutes, we will try to cover 3 objectives. Firstly, how will you differentiate dengue illness in a febrile patient? When there is a patient suspected of having a viral infection or viral illness, how would you suspect dengue illness in that patient? It's the first objective. That's very important. In a non-endemic, in a transition region like yours, it's very important for you to try and master that. That's the first objective. If you can appreciate during this next 45 minutes, I would say that you will achieve something. Second and more important, the most important objective is for you to differentiate dengue fever from dengue hemorrhagic fever. You may not see many patients coming with dengue hemorrhagic fever, so you need to really look into your patients and see whether these patients are having dengue fever or dengue hemorrhagic fever. That's a matter of life and death. Sooner you differentiate dengue hemorrhagic fever from dengue fever, better for the patient, and less morbidity, so as less mortality. So make sure that you try to differentiate dengue fever from dengue hemorrhagic fever. So that's the second objective. Third objective, how would you detect shock in dengue hemorrhagic fever, and how would you resuscitate, and how would you transfer that patient or forward that patient to more higher centers? Because as general practitioners, you have a moral obligation to treat your patients before you refer the patients to a higher center. So how would you treat a patient who's coming in shock and refer that patient to a higher center so that the patient's conditions would not deteriorate? So these three objectives, if you cover in the next 45 minutes, I think we'll be very happy, and we would like you to advocate these messages to your other colleagues and take it to your community so that you will be better prepared to tackle these menace as collectively as a group. So with that, I'll stop and I'll ask Dr. Somia to discuss very briefly about the overview of it. Yeah, sure. This is a discussion.
No, there is one question which we have heard that the primary care setup in Sri Lanka that is quite better than Pakistan, because here we don't recognize the primary care facilities. You see, in last epidemic, we were the first people who recognized that these are the patients of dengue fever, not the tertiary care hospitals. They later on diagnosed that these are the, and we went to DGL. And we asked him that a lot of number of patients are seen by the family physician, and he said that this is a very huge number. How is it possible? When the media they took up this matter, only then the health department they said that okay, this is the number is quite high. I think the liaison between the primary care and the tertiary and the secondary and the government health department, that is very poor, and it is a little better in the last epidemics, because the government first time we recognized that without primary care we cannot deal with such epidemics. So this is the dilemma in our country, that we miss a lot of cases.
We always say that dengue helps to bring people together. So this is a good opportunity for everybody to work together. I think we've learned this lesson. So it's a valuable lesson that we've learned. That primary care physicians will see the patients afresh and in the early phase of illness, and therefore in Sri Lanka we have actually incorporated a few primary care physicians into our surveillance mechanism. We do have active surveillance for dengue, and for that there are a few general practitioners who are supplying and providing their patients on a regular basis. So these are things that you can sort of evolve into as you go along. So it's a very valid point. I completely agree with you. There is no reason why I should disagree with you. So I think that's quite correct. So with that, I would like Dr. Somia to come forward and just give us a very brief account of the dengue illness, and then Dr. Veeraman will give you the basics of differentiation between dengue fever and dengue hemorrhagic fever, followed by the basic investigations that you need to do, as well as the management that we would want you to advocate to your patients when you are, provided that you have dengue patients coming this year or maybe in years to come. Thank you very much.